Okay, so we just did the practice sample, this one right here, and there's no seam allowance really on here. I just did a random stitch. We're going to practice using the seam allowance. The importance of doing your practice sample is that it pulls up the bobbin thread so that it's not all tangled and you're ready to go. So from here, you have your 2 threads, and whenever you sew, you want these threads to be towards the back like this, so that they're not tangled up in the machine. So we're going to pull our threads, and you want to give them a little bit of length. So we're going to pull just a couple of inches, and then we are ready to start sewing. So our presser foot is up. You're going to slide your fabric in, and on the stitch plate, you want your sample to be at 5/8 of an inch. So if you look here, there's this little 5/8 right here. This says 3/8. This one says 5/8. So we're going to pull our fabric down so we're on the edge. And we're going to start a couple, like about a 1/2 inch down so that you have room to backstitch. So you're going to line your fabric up to this 5/8 line right here, and then put your presser foot down. Okay, press your needle, the needle up and down button, and then from here you can go ahead and start stitching. So do a couple of stitches. Oh, we're still in the back stitches. Here we go. Okay, so do a couple of stitches forward, and then from here you can press your back button on your machine. I don't know why my machine is being funky. It should go right away, but I'm not really sure what's going on. There we go. Okay. The settings might just be off on this machine. Okay, so from here you have your backstitch light on, which means your backstitch setting is on, and then go ahead and stitch backwards, and you want to keep the edge of your fabric on this 5/8 line. So stitch backwards over the stitches you just did, and then turn off your backstitch button. So you're going to push this button, turn it off, and then stitch forward again. Okay, while you're stitching, you want to make sure that your fabric stays on that 5/8 line right here. So just keep stitching. Remember, the feed dogs push your fabric through, so you don't need to pull on the back. Just guide it with your hands in the front. So make sure it's staying on that 5/8 line. Make sure you go nice and slow. Like you're getting the hang of it, you can speed up your machine a little bit, so just press your pedal a little bit faster. Going, it's still on the 5/8 line until you are almost at the end. So go really close to the edge, and then from here you're going to press your backstitch button again, which I don't know why this is being funny. There we go. Okay, so from here you're going to backstitch over the stitches you just did. Do 4 or 5 stitches, and then you're done. Remember, from here you lift up you press the needle button. Press the needle button so you make sure the needle is up. Do 1 more stitch, and it'll pull the needle up for you. And then lift up the presser foot and pull on your threads. So pull on your threads and then cut it at the side. And then you have your sample. So the importance of using the stitch plate and having even stitches is so your stitches are an equal space from the edge. So if you look right here, it's a nice straight line. Okay. For our pillowcase, we're going to be using a different seam allowance than this 5/8, but I'll talk about that when we finally start our pillowcase project. Today, when you are working with your partner, you are going to be both stitch on the same sample. Okay, because you have your sample fabric, both you and your partner are going to be using this sample pattern or this practice sample just to make sure that the machine is set up and ready to go. Then from here, you will stitch one side of the fabric and then turn it around, and your partner is going to stitch the other side of the fabric. If you have a group of 3, you have an extra piece of fabric that you can use this on. All 3 of you will just use this for your sample. Okay, so once you have done your sample and you threaded it, you threaded both the top and the bottom, and you made your sample, you're going to take out all the thread. So take out the bobbin, take off this top thread up here. So just take this off completely and just pull, and the thread will come out. Okay, take out the bobbin thread, and then your partner is going to do that whole process by themselves. So they're going to have to re-thread the machine from the top and from the bottom, do the practice stitch to make sure it's all working, and then do their sample.